Part 17. Exploring the World, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 161. When Yeshi said this, he did not look at the camera, but looked at the things inside the small door. He observed it and found that there was probably an ancient tomb inside. Once inside, it was the earthly immortal tomb. After he finished reading, he turned to the camera and spoke. I just observed this ancient tomb, and it should be of this size. But the question is, did they also use enlargement and reduction treasures? Or is it that the earth immortals themselves have the magical power of Ruyi? In fact, it can be said that Fengxian village has covered the underground tombs with layers of protective shields. Let alone tomb robbers, even another earthly immortal may not be able to pass through these layers of protection, and then go to the ancient tomb of the earth immortal. I understand, what Yeshen said means that he is more powerful than the earth immortal. Do you think my understanding ability is very good? But what Yeshen said is true, and I'm also very curious as to why there is such a small tomb of the earthly immortal in it. By the way, if you want to enlarge or reduce the treasure, doesn't Yeshen himself have it? When he met Lilliputians on Mars before, he directly shrunk himself. Yeshi looked at the barrage and then said, No, you are mistaken. This ancient tomb of the earthly immortal is different from that of Lilliput. Even if we can zoom in and out, and even if I can make my body smaller, I still cannot enter it. There is a special rule attached to it, and only those who meet certain conditions can enter it. What should we do? Do we have to go home now? I advise you not to use your shallow human knowledge to guess Yeshen. Although I don't know about these special conditions, I can go directly through here and go there. I am God. The ID upstairs is really suitable for the occasion. A dazzling light suddenly bloomed on Yeshi's hand, and then quickly disappeared. I saw a sudden movement, and Yeshi, who was standing in the ancestral hall, had disappeared. The topic of the barrage discussion in the live broadcast room had not yet changed, but a familiar scene appeared in front of him again. The bad people are gone, the people are gone, and the people are gone again. The good news is here again, that is, we can see what the earth immortal ancient tomb looks like. Every time I see Yeshen exploring secrets in different places, I really wonder how such a person could appear in this world. Yeshi actually just used his dream world to transform. Although the rules of the earthly immortal tomb in front of him were very high, they were still not as high as Yeshi's world rules. And when Yeshi's figure appeared again in the live broadcast room, everyone saw the ancient tomb of the earthly immortal hanging in mid-air, held up by white clouds. This ancient tomb of the earth immortal is indeed very majestic, and it does not lose the identity of the earth immortal at all. The only thing that's strange is that this ancient tomb of the earthly immortal has been opened by someone. Yeshi looked up at the ancient tomb of the earth immortal hanging on the white clouds and murmured to himself. The sound seemed very small, but how could the netizens watching the live broadcast in the live broadcast room not hear it? So each of them opened their mouths wide, and their surprised faces were reflected on the screen. Let me ask, does the word pry open mean what I imagined? Who is it? It was unexpectedly the first one to get there. Couldn't it be that Zhang Tianqi? No, he was so frightened by Brother Sanhua that he definitely wouldn't be able to come to this place. 1 point will be deducted from your morality upstairs. Did anyone else enter Fengxian village? Yeshi didn't look at the camera now because he heard the familiar system reminder sound in his ears. Ding, congratulations to the host. The exploration of the Fengxian village map has increased by 14%, and the overall progress is now 60%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the third puzzle piece of Fengxian village. The reward is Emperor Wang x 500 kg, Demon Mirror, Imitation, Skilled Tomb Robbing Skills x1, Divine Whip, Fengxian Village Fragment x1. Fengxian Village Picture Book, Dixian Tomb. Dixian Ancient Tomb, it is the ancient tomb of Dixian in Fengjia village. According to Dixian's previous idea, an ancient tomb that will never be stolen was created. Because the friends of Dixian will encounter unknown things in their later years, they and the Earth Immortal entered the Earth Immortal ancient tomb together, but what I never expected was that how could a mere Earth Immortal ancient tomb stop such a terrible thing? You already know what happened next. Demon mirror, imitation just like the demon mirror in your memory, it is just a treasure mirror imitated by the Earth Immortal of the Feng family. It is just to look at the demon, but it is a pity that the demon did not come out, but a demon came out. The big seed crawled out of the ancient tomb of Earth Immortal. Guess, is this big rice dumpling the person you imagined? Skilled tomb robbing skills, very skilled, even able to rob the tomb of the Earth Immortal. If you ask where you got this skill, of course you know it from the Earth Immortal himself. The Divine Whip, it's just like the Divine Whip in your memory, but the difference is that this one is genuine. What a surprise, isn't it? Unfortunately, at this time, the Divine Whip cannot produce the effect it should have. When Yeshi heard about the demon mirror, everyone else was dumbfounded. Because he had suspected who had stolen the ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal. But I never expected that this candidate would be the most unlikely person. That is, the Earth Immortal himself. Although the system's reminder was very vague, Yeshi could fully understand its meaning. Wait a minute, why did old Ye say that the Earth Immortal tomb was robbed? How did he know that? Why didn't I see that? Wait a minute, professional matters should be analyzed by professionals. I'll call my great-grandfather right away. He coughs, everyone knows. Just when the barrage was full of doubts and shock, Yeshi spoke. He pointed to a corner above the white cloud. Didn't you see that there was a corner on it? It's obvious that the Earth Immortal tomb has been broken open. But I didn't expect that the person who broke the Earth Immortal tomb was not someone else. When Yeshi said this, he paused, causing the audience in the live broadcast room to shout words like broken chapter thief. Could it be that kind red-haired brother? Then Yeshi continued to say. The person who broke the Earth Immortal tomb was the Earth Immortal himself. To be honest, I was also surprised by this, but it is indeed a fact. Sorry, with my limited language cognition, I don't quite understand what you mean. King Triumph, what's there to not understand? Isn't it just that a big Zongzi appeared in this tomb? We are familiar with this. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 162. Yeshi knew what kind of uproar he would cause after speaking out these things in the live broadcast room. But the problem is, he hasn't spoken out yet. After these words, various speculations were made in the live broadcast room, and he began to talk about his various speculations, saying who he thought the earthly immortal who was digging his grave would be. In the end, they all agreed that the Earth Immortal was the red-haired brother. As for why there was a discrepancy with Zhang Tianqi's statement, it was because Zhang Tianqi had lost his mind and was stupid. It's the last two sentences that many people have warned against. Yeshi's expression was, he really never thought about backstabbing his fans, at least this time, he really didn't think about it. As for why they were still stabbed, it had nothing to do with him. Well, actually I think you are really thinking a little too much. Zhang Tianqi said that the red-haired monster is a friend of the Earth Immortal. This is not wrong. The red-haired monster can't be that earthly immortal. It seems that there is something wrong with the red-haired monster, so it will be unlucky in his later years. It just so happened that the Earth Immortal wanted to ascend to immortality, so he arranged an ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal for himself that could never be breached. The two of them were close friends, so they hit it off immediately and entered the Earth Immortal ancient tomb together. It seemed that nothing unexpected would happen later. The Earth Immortal crawled out of the tomb, and the red-haired monster also turned into a red-haired monster and crawled out of the Earth Immortal's ancient tomb. Oh my God, how did you know? No, Yeshen said so much, you have noticed this, right? Stop asking about things in the world. Wow, so both of them have turned into corpses. One has turned into a big rice dumpling, and the other has turned into a red-haired monster. It's amazing, they are really good brothers. They have turned into corpses, and they have to turn into corpses together. This angle upstairs is very strange, watch and enjoy. Yashi shut up after saying this and just continued to move forward. The barrage started chatting very enthusiastically again, although they inevitably got into an argument while chatting. And when Yashi approached, only then did everyone realize that the ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal was surprisingly large. Because of a special ability, you can't see anything from a distance. Looking closer, I discovered that the layout of the entire Dixian ancient tomb was no different from the layout of Fengxian village outside. I see, I really want to be promoted to immortality. I just want to say, can you give me a share? That's right, I also want to ascend to immortality. What's so special about this arrangement in Fengxian village? Can I place one at home, and then I also ascend to immortality? The upstairs is really a wonderful idea, help me ask, I want to know too. Golden Mouse, you can only see the surface, but you can't see the deeper arrangements. If it doesn't have an effect, it doesn't matter. What should I do if I'm afraid of a counter effect? Yashi had already reached the white clouds and stood at the entrance of the tomb. But he didn't go in directly. Instead, I chose to bypass this place and go to another place. In comparison, it is probably the place where the coffin is hung in Fengxian village. Yashi stood there. Then pointed forward. This ancient tomb of the earthly immortal was broken open in only one place. The two people should have come out from this place. I asked how I could get in so easily. It turns out that the owner has already opened the door. I'm laughing so hard at this metaphor. But if two people came out, then why did we only see the red-haired brothers, and Zhang Tianqi didn't see the Earth Immortal? Where did he go? Will he also go to Mars? Yashi also wondered about this matter. But after observing this thing that looks like a robbery hole, then we came to the gate of the ancient tomb. Although this ancient tomb has been broken open, it is not that easy to get in. In the final analysis, it is an ancient tomb that the Earth Immortal personally arranged. Yashi said this to the camera. As for his actions, he raised his hand and casually pushed the tomb door in front. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the tomb door was pushed open directly. What's going on? The slap in the face was like a tornado coming too fast. Ha 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 ha, I laughed hard. In fact, what Yeshen said is very reasonable, so why is this ancient tomb of the earthly immortal more casual than a child's castle? Yeshi hissed. I have no idea why this is the case. But he is not embarrassed, because as long as he is not embarrassed, others will be embarrassed. This, I didn't expect it to be pushed away so easily. But the push has been pushed away, and we can continue to explore in depth. I don't know what kind of things are waiting for us to see in this ancient tomb of the earthly immortal. Yashi's eyes were full of interest and eagerness to try. And when he stepped into the passage of the ancient tomb, Yashi discovered that the walls on both sides of the ancient tomb were covered with scratches. The scratches were so deep and there were bloody palm prints, which made people shudder. Holy shit, 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 what is this? Yashi took out a flashlight from his arms. Then he looked at the wall. After squinting for a while, suddenly, the door of the ancient tomb that was pushed open behind Yashi closed with a bang. Yashi was not frightened. But others were really frightened. Yashi was still concentrating on thinking about the scratches on it. Finally I found a point. The scratches here are very similar to the scratches we saw inside the coffin. No, I can definitely say that these are the scratches left by the same thing. Hey, what are you talking about? Yashi finished speaking. After taking a look at the barrage, I found that everything was and there were all kinds of ghost cries and wolf howls. Isn't it just that the tomb door is closed? What's all the fuss about? It really calms the heart. The problem is, it's not that the tomb door is closed now, but now, shit, the lights are also turned off. When Yeshi saw this barrage, I just happened to feel that all the bright lights around me were dimming. Finally disappeared. I was stable just now, but now in this night vision environment, I am really a little unstable. I'm scared. Yeshi frowned. I didn't feel anything unusual. You don't need to make a fuss. It's just that the lights went out, and it's not like a big rice dumpling ran out. I advise you to stop talking. The flags behind you are simply more than the flags behind the old general on the stage. Has Lao Ye turned on the crow's mouth a tribute recently? Yeshi also said this. But seeing these barrages, I couldn't help but be speechless. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 163. When Yeshi saw someone saying that he had brought a crow's mouth when he went out this time, he couldn't help but became speechless. You guys really almost got it? Why am I so dumb? I just mentioned that. Even if the lights go out or the real big rice dumpling comes out, what does it have to do with me? It doesn't matter at all. Yeshi actually said this. He didn't think there would be any big rice dumplings inside. After all, the Earth Immortal City had arranged this place so that no one could break it from the outside. If that was the case, why would there be any mutated big rice dumplings inside the Earth Immortal tomb? And when Yeshi expressed his speculation, the vast majority of people in the live broadcast room have been convinced, and there are still some hesitant people. After seeing Yeshi's firm eyes, choose to believe Yeshi. Then, in the almost completely sealed Earth Immortal ancient tomb, bursts of dark wind suddenly blew, mixed with rain of blood. Yeshi was a little confused. And the live broadcast room. Yeshen, I believed you so much before, but you, how could you do this to me? I'm laughing so hard, Yeshen, you're serious, stop talking, you're too funny. Ghost, what is this? Yeshi chose to shut up. Then he looked ahead and saw a shadow coming out of the wind and blood. Hung Mao, brother Hung Mao. Holy shit, big red-haired brother, why are you here? Didn't you go from Mars to where you sat on the five-color altar? No, this is just a phantom. It should be the wall, or the scene recorded in this ancient tomb of the earthly immortal. This appearance is really cool. It comes with its own speakers. Just when Yeshi was talking, the phantom of the red-haired monster passed through Yeshi's body. Then it floated outside. But then again, why would you record such a scene? There should be a lot of problems in this. Let's keep going forward and take a look at what's inside the earthly immortal tomb. A person watching the live broadcast was scared to death. I even said there were two red-haired brothers. Yeshi continued to walk forward in the passage. And all the candles here were extinguished. He took a few steps. Suddenly I felt something was wrong. It was too dark, so I decided to light it up. I always feel like there's something in the dark peering at us. Be more serious, I'm just peeping at you, not you. Alegio, the fire candle in the ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal should be an ever-burning lamp, which is the legendary lamp that once it is lit, it will never go out again. As for why it goes out. Originally, everyone was still thinking about how Yeshi would light the fire, and various high-level speculations emerged. But what I never expected was that Yeshi took out a very beautifully made lighter from his pocket. Then, click. Yeshi struck a fire and lit the candle. What's that sentence called? No matter how good your skills are, you are still afraid of kitchen knives? The other things in the Earth Immortal tomb may be really extraordinary, but this fire candle. You have really thought too much, and you actually think I am going to use some magic to light up. It's better to just use a lighter. Can everyone talk about some science? After Yeshi lit a candle, it seemed to wake up all the candles in the passage. In the eyes of everyone watching the live broadcast, they saw a slightly wavy sea of light. One point and all areas, and even the entire Earth Immortal tomb. When they saw this scene, they were all stunned. Are you telling me this is science? I try hard to think from a scientific perspective, but I'm sorry, my scientific literacy is really too low. Next. Neither can I. Next one. Fanwuju, flying with a sword is also a science. Yeshi saw the bright passage to the ancient tomb restored and put away the lighter in his hand. But I saw. It seems that because of the candle light, the walls on both sides of the passage gradually reflected murals. Yeshi raised his eyebrows and stopped in his tracks. Go back again. This light really has a great effect. The mural above is not carved on the wall. Otherwise, I would be able to feel it even in the dark, but I didn't feel this way at all before. So this mural is engraved in light. Yeshi discovered the mystery at the first moment. He stretched out his hand to block a bunch of light, and saw the mural on the wall disappear. And when Yeshi picked up the bronze sword, after scratching this wall beyond recognition, Yeshi released the blocked candle light again, only to see that the murals on the wall were still lifelike. I'm going to study this mural carefully. I don't know where it started. He turned around. Then go towards the gate of the earthly immortal ancient tomb. Finally, we stopped at a place with huge bronze statues on both sides. He fell into deep thought. Then I understood something. There wasn't anything like this before, right? I pulled the progress bar, and it was indeed like this. This is where the dividing line starts. Going forward from here, there are all those strange murals. As for the two bronze statues that suddenly appeared, they should also be related to the murals. I will write down their appearance and see if I can find the corresponding points in the mural. After Yeshi finished speaking, stopped in front of the first mural. Then he pointed at one of the ethereal objects whose appearance was unclear and pondered for a moment and said, "You see, this thing seems to be an earthly immortal. It's strange. This painting seems to depict the scene of the Earth Immortal entering the Earth Immortal tomb, but there is no red-haired brother. You told me this thing is called Earth Immortal. I didn't even realize this thing was a person. Oh, I forgot, it seems that the Earth Immortal is not a human in the first place, so that's okay. It looks like a cloud or a fog to me. Painful if this thing is put into the reading comprehension of the Chinese language for the college entrance examination. I don't know how many people will be harmed." "No, Lao Ye, how do you see that Picasso is still alive?" Yeshi took 2 shallow steps back. Then he pointed to the first mural and said, "You can't look at the details, you have to look at the whole. Ancient paintings are all about spiritual resemblance. Don't you all see it?" Yeshi glanced at the live broadcast room in confusion. As a result, I saw a row of question marks. So he spread his hands. "Okay, then keep moving forward. As for the mural opposite, I can't see much. I can only see a piece of turbidity and chaos. This second painting." Yeshi was still talking while walking. But he quickly shut up. "This second painting depicts the scene in Fengxian village." "What the hell?" Earth Immortal discovered Fengxian village after entering Earth Immortal ancient tomb. "Where are the Matryoshka dolls for me?" Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 164. The first picture, whether on the left or right, is very blurry and cannot be seen by normal people. But when it comes to the second painting, all the pictures became clear, so clear that normal people could understand them anyway. Therefore, everyone can understand what Yeshi said this time. Because following his gaze, you can see the picture he said. "Damn, this is really a ghost." Yeshi also felt like he had seen a ghost. So he chose to look at the mural opposite. The content of the mural was no different from here. Except for one thing, there was a person following Dixian next to him. They entered Fengxian village together. I'm really confused now. I don't quite understand the relationship between Fengxian village and Dixian ancient tomb. No wonder it's said that this can lead to immortality. I can't even understand it now. Old yeah, you spoke my mind. No wonder you can become an immortal. We can't even understand it. This must be a big problem. I always feel like this village is weird. Yeshi hissed, shook his head, and took one last look at the mural. Then chose to continue moving forward. And the candle began to sway. It seems that the burning is unsustainable. And Yeshi continued to hum huozu. Then he looked at the third painting. The content of this third painting, fired a rocket, right? Why did you fast forward to the time when the Earth Immortal entered the ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal and then started to lay down his corpse? Everyone, look here. Yeshi pointed to a place. These two painted figures are the figures from the bronze statues we saw before. But what is painted on the mural is that this bronze statue is guarding the ancient tomb of the Earth Immortal. I see. When Yeshi said the last sentence, he suddenly realized. The two Fengxian villages we saw before are actually the Dixian ancient tomb in the mural. The Earth Immortal must have discovered the special features of Fengxian village and felt that this place was very suitable for his ancient tomb, so he occupied the magpie nest. And the earthly immortal tomb we entered is a small ancient tomb that the earthly immortal built for himself within the entire large ancient tomb. He is buried here with his friends. Good guy, this is really stacking boxes, isn't it? One layer inside another. In this case, who is buried in the tomb at the beginning? Puzzling. Yeshi shook his head and paused for a moment. Then I looked at the barrage and saw many people saying that their brains were not used enough. Yeshi also felt that this time the exploration of Fengxian village was very twists and turns. I forgot about it. In fact, I can guess it from the rewards given to me by the system. Yeshi thought about it for a while but still didn't understand it. Forget it, don't worry about it. Continue to go deeper, and we will naturally know the answers to all this. Then Yeshi came to the end. There is no road ahead, left or right. Yeshi confirmed that they were all solid, and there were no mechanisms. They were just completely blocked. So Yeshi raised his head and glanced at the sky. Then at the first glance, everyone who followed his line of sight was startled. Damn, what big eyes. These big eyes look familiar. Family members, do you think they are similar to the ones in Jingju ancient city? I can't say they are exactly the same, I can only say they are completely unrelated. You, please let me call you boldly, how do you see that this eyeball is similar to the eyeball of Jingju ancient city? Apart from the fact that they are both eyeballs, do they have any more similarities? Yes, she did see a skeletal eyeball that kept moving. But these eyes didn't give people a scary feeling, they were just weird. In addition to being startled, everyone. There was nothing else, but he was very interested in chatting about this big eyeball. When Yeshi saw the big eyes, he knew that the way out was here. He looked at each other and said. As a result, it was strange to find that the other party was still conscious, so he cleared his throat. Open the door. Give me. What an inverted sentence about Northeast. It seems that he heard Yeshi's words. The big eyes actually followed his words and opened a door for Yeshi. But this door is neither in front nor behind, nor on the left nor on the right, but at the foot. With a swish sound, Yeshi fell down like he fell into a bottomless pit. Fall, it fell. How could it be so? I just saw that the eyeball was so kind. Why did it turn around and give Yeshen this look? I just have a question, after such a long time, why haven't the cameras caught up? When Yeshi found out that he was falling, I immediately wanted to fly up, but I heard the system's reminder sound in my ear. Knowing that this was the only way to enter the depths of the ancient tomb, He continued to fall down. But I didn't expect that. Only halfway down, something unexpected happened. Yashi felt countless venomous snake-like flying knives around him, shooting at him one after another. There was no place to hide, and no room to turn around. When the camera cut over, it was just when Yashi was attacked, and countless people immediately cried out in surprise. What the hell is this? Yashi moved quickly and picked up the sword in his hand at the first time. The aqua-blue sword gently passed by, like a wave rippling in the air, and these poisonous knives were frozen one after another, making many people breathe a sigh of relief. But before they could put down their hearts, they found that there was danger again. This is a mountain of swords and a sea of fire. Yashi had just passed the mountain of swords, and everyone saw a sea of fire below. There were all kinds of sharp weapons in the sea of fire, waiting to crush Yashi completely. He couldn't think of any better way at this moment. So he could only turn over, step directly on the sword, and then fly the sword. The sword he stepped on was another sword, but the sword in Yashi's hand was still the Kingian sword. Everyone only realized how powerful this sword was until now. Under the sword light, all the sea of fire was frozen. This seemingly terrifying fire had no power to fight back in front of this sword. On the contrary, the ice in the shape of the flame was very gorgeous. Immortal sword, damn. Yashi was still standing on the sword at this time, holding the Kingian sword in his hand. He looked around and finally landed in the frozen sea of fire. After smashing those flame ice sculptures, Yashi saw another passage. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 165. Originally, the passage was hidden among thousands of flames. Once you fall into it, you will only be surrounded by flames. But because Yashi froze these flames, thus the passage below is revealed. It's a stone stairway. Strange, if this earth immortal has the idea not to come out until he becomes an immortal, then why would he specially set up a passage in a place like this? Because I am too mentally retarded, I don't know whether the upstairs is just a show or is really like this. This tomb was not built in an instant. Shouldn't people go in? Yashi didn't notice the barrage in the live broadcast room. Just lift your feet and walk down. The ever-burning lanterns all lit up because of Yashi's movement. People can see what this entire downward passage looks like. They are all made of gold and iron, and there is no end in sight. It seems endless. Why does this road feel weird? Yashi walked a few steps and felt something was wrong with the passage going down. So he looked up at the camera and said, "It looks like it's going down here, but it's actually going up. Why do you feel that this tomb is designed like a lunatic? What do the Earth Immortals think? They have long thought that the tomb will be robbed, so they want to torture the tomb robbers to death, right?" Yashi started to complain mercilessly. Then I heard something. I looked down and saw that I had bumped into something across the stone steps. Yashi bent down and picked up the things. It was found to be a broken vessel. From the shape, it looks like something similar to a bowl. Yashi held it in his hand and shook it, and felt that the strange thing in his hand seemed to be gradually weathering due to contact with living creatures. He raised his eyebrows. This thing is not inside a tomb. What the hell, right? Why are people entering the earthly immortal tomb everywhere? Who could be the person who dropped this thing here? Is it true that some tomb robbers searched for tombs and found this place? Yashi shook his head when he said this, obviously feeling that what he said was a bit outrageous. Good guy, you are the founder of reverse fighting, right? It seems that what I said before is really true. This place feels like anyone can come in. So it's very strange. On one side, the Heavenly Master was so scared that he locked himself in a hanging coffin for almost 1,000 years without daring to appear. On the other side, he easily came to the interior of Fengxian village. This one of the two must be fake, I swear. I made this oath for the man upstairs. He said that if neither of these two were false, he would stand on his head and eat shit. What is cheating to eat or drink? Yeshi casually threw the external object in his hand. The barrage alerted him and told him to sort the garbage into different categories. Of course, Yeshi didn't see it. It's just that you keep walking down the stone steps, and then you go higher and higher. Therefore, everyone finally saw a scene that made people laugh and cry. That is, Yeshi was obviously walking downwards, but there were more and more white clouds surrounding him. Then he even passed through the clouds, but damn, Yeshi was still walking down. I've hit a ghost, I've hit a ghost, now I've really hit a ghost. Why do I feel like I can't get out? It's not quite right. Are we taking the wrong path? Yeshi didn't speak. Just lift the raised foot a little higher. It seems like he is testing the rules here. There is indeed a problem. If ordinary people look at this road, they will think that they have entered a cycle. Actually, it's not a cycle at all. I just keep walking forward. Just saying, there's something special set up here. Damn it, now I want to go to the end to see where I will end up. How about I let you make a choice? Should I continue walking forward, or should I unlock the special restrictions here and find other passages? Yeshi raised his voice and spoke to the camera in the live broadcast room. Oh my god, am I dreaming? Yeshen actually asked us for our opinions and let us make a choice. Pinch me, I don't want to faint from having a sweet dream. What is the sinister intention of the anchor? I completely understand it. This is the difficulty of choosing oneself, so let us choose, right? But the problem is, I also choose suffering. I want you, Lao Ye, to go to the end and have a look. I'm also very curious about where to go, although it may be the right way to unravel the rules here. I don't mind watching the excitement. Then I want Lao Ye to see Earth Immortal's coffin as soon as possible. Don't go astray, directly unlock the restrictions here, and then let's run away with the bucket. Yeshi looked at the people on the barrage who were crazily giving him opinions and snorted. I really want to say that I just wanted to ask casually. So he picked up a coin and threw it into the sky. Only a crisp sound of landing was heard. The camera also focused on the coin that was thrown on the ground. I only heard Yeshi's voice ringing. Okay, it's the other way around. If that's the case, I won't unlock the special restrictions here. I'll continue walking along here to see what's at the end. Originally, we came here to explore the mystery in order to find these unknown pleasures. Now, an unknown front is waiting for us. We are still arguing here. How did you decide? Didn't you say that we should make a choice? Yeshi glanced at it and responded. I asked you to make a choice, but I didn't say that I would adopt it. Based on the distance of the clouds I saw when I was on the ground, I am now almost at the normal flight altitude of the plane. I wonder what will happen if I go further? Will I walk out of the sky again and enter the ancestral hall in the Fengxian village? But this is a special space, it shouldn't be like this. Yeshi breathed a sigh of relief and continued to go down the stairs. And there were more and more things around him. During this boring walk, the barrage in the live broadcast room began to press Yeshi what he would encounter when he reached the end this time. However, most people think that this road has no end at all. Some people think it is a blank. Of course, more people think it may be a dead end. When mentioning this, people who hold this view also deliberately added a point, stating that it is a dead end for ordinary people, but for Yeshi, there is no such thing as a dead end. Yeshi looked at the disturbances in the live broadcast room and didn't care. He didn't think of guessing what the end was, and he didn't even think of finding the system to ask. In the process of exploring, he also enjoyed full fun. I don't know how long I walked, because there seemed to be no flow of time here. And those who watched the live broadcast calculated the time and found that it had been 26 hours from the beginning to now, and they were shocked. Some people were worried that Yeshi would keep walking like this, and wanted to persuade Yeshi to break the special rules. Yeshi ignored them. And walked for about 20 hours. Yeshi looked at the road ahead, raised his eyebrows slightly, and found something different. And in this boring live broadcast of more than 40 hours, the flow of people in the live broadcast room did not decrease at all, but increased appropriately. Ding! A familiar sound rang in Yeshi's ears. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 166. When Yeshi I heard a very familiar voice in his ears. I understood that my choice, which was originally made to satisfy my curiosity, might have been the right one. Ding! Congratulations to the host for improving the map of Fengxian village by 20%. The overall progress is now 80%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking the fourth puzzle piece of Fengxian village. You will be rewarded with the floating road, Fengxian village construction map X1, broken ferry book X1, broken ferry pen X1, and Fengxian village fragments X2. Fengxian village picture book, Earthly Immortal Heavenly Palace, floating road. Earth Immortal Palace, under your, crossed out, me, wise and powerful leadership, you came directly to the tomb of the Earth Immortal. Is this the annihilation of humanity or the loss of morality? Oh, I forgot, you are not human. Then it's okay. The Earth Immortal Heavenly Palace is the coffin arranged by the Earth Immortal for himself, and only the Earth Immortal lives in it permanently. He and his friends are not that perverted, and the coffins will be placed together after death, but the most important thing is that Brother Hung Mao's uncertainty is too scary. Floating road, the section of road you just walked on is a derivative of the floating road, so it will look a little weird. However, when you actually walk on the floating road, you will find that this road is extremely magical. When you walk up there, you can not only become one with heaven and earth, but also enjoy the joy of ascending to immortality. Yes, you can see the heaven while standing on the floating road, so I give it to you. Fengxian village construction map, walking along this road, you should clearly feel the uniqueness of the entire Fengxian village secret realm. Do you want to own it? You are welcome, I will give you a genuine map of Fengxian village. Open. The Broken Immortal Book, this is something that people who don't know will never know. That is, if you want to be promoted to the Immortal Court, your name must be in the Immortal Book. Of course, you are becoming an immortal. If you find that your name is not on the Immortal Book later, you can add it. Is this a paradox? Otherwise, it is not that simple to become an immortal. The earthly immortal is called an immortal, but in fact it is different from the immortal. No, otherwise why would the earth immortal want to become an immortal? Broken fairy pen, the fairy pen used to write names in the fairy book, but it has been damaged and cannot be used now. Just when Yeshi was listening to the systematic science popularization in his ears, he did not stop his movements, but continued to walk forward. Also because of this, while walking without stopping, Yeshi took everyone to see a fairy palace that reached the sky, and a fairy road leading to the fairy palace with mist and clouds. In front of everyone, you can see the ethereal fairy palace floating under the clouds and mist. Just looking at this fairy palace makes you feel that it is extremely majestic. Not to mention that there are spiritual trees and fairy flowers embellished in it, which set off the fairy spirit incomparably. The white crane takes off, and even vaguely, you can see the surrounding mountains. In a trance, you can notice the flying fairies. Many people began to doubt their own eyes, and then wiped their eyes fiercely. But I still saw these scenes in a daze. But when Ding Qing looked, there was only one heavenly palace, which was confusing. And during this time, Yeshi was already standing in front of Fukong Road. The floating road looks like it is made of white marble. It looks like a precious jade from the immortal garden. This is the legendary floating road. Yeshi's voice echoed here, and people in the live broadcast room naturally heard it. Okay, I don't want to hear what you said about the legendary news you got from some ancient book. I want you to be more direct. That's what was said upstairs. But surprisingly. However, Yeshi stopped talking after saying a word, which made people anxious. But I saw it lift its feet and then step on the floating road. The world is turned upside down. Everything has changed. Everyone thought that what they saw in a daze actually appeared in front of everyone. The young man's voice also came out at this time. This floating road looks ordinary from the name, but in fact it has a very special effect. That is, standing on the floating road, you can see the appearance of heaven. Yeshi's voice was the same as usual, neither too loud nor too soft. But hearing the words in the ears of netizens was like dropping an atomic bomb in their ears. Before they could react, Yeshi continued to talk. The picture displayed around us now should be a corner of heaven. They all seem to be floating fairy mountains, and I don't know where in the heaven I am seeing. FCK, FCK, asterisk. I can't say anything now. Although, this is heaven, heaven has always occupied the most important position in our myths and legends. God. Are you stupid upstairs? Please call the Jade Emperor, Haoshan Golden Tower, Supreme, Natural Wonderful Milo, True Jade Emperor God, laxatives, don't touch our Jade Emperor. Here I go. I didn't expect that. I didn't have an eye problem before. I thought I was blind because I stared at the screen for more than 40 hours. I'm not blind, so it's okay. Wait, brother upstairs, do you want to think about it or go take a look? Yeshi looked at the barrage in the live broadcast room and nodded. Yes, it is the heavenly court. But I am not sure if it is the heavenly court we are familiar with. In fact, I personally prefer that the heavenly court here is closely related to the heavenly court on Mars. I can't figure it out, I can only wait and see. After Yeshi said this, he continued to move forward. The floating road is very difficult to walk on. Most people can't even take the first step, because in the legend, this road is the immortal road to heaven, and those who can walk through it can become immortals. So if you follow the route I explored, remember to do what you can when you get here. Yeshi said this seriously, and the listener suspected that he had heard it wrong. Bai Vuchain, may I ask why do you think so highly of us, and think that we can go to the deepest part through the Fengxian village? Fanwuju, maybe because Yeshen thinks he is just an ordinary little anchor. Qian kneels down. Old Yes words are really scary. What official thinks we will imitate? No, you think too much, we will never choose to imitate this. Yeshi shrugged his shoulders. Anyway, he just said that and didn't expect anyone to really do it. Soon, Yeshi walked to the middle. Then stopped and looked at a place. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 167. When Yeshi stopped, no one was surprised, because when they saw the ruins of the heavenly palace, they also saw it naturally. It was a ruin of an immortal palace floating in the clouds. Of course, the most important thing was the three words. Southern Gate of Heaven. Southern Gate of Heaven. Southern Gate of Heaven. Southern Gate of Heaven. Everyone said these three words almost in unison, and opened their eyes wide to look at the piece that seemed to be right in front of them but no one could get close to, the ruins of the gods. When Yeshi shouted the three words of the Southern Gate of Heaven, he felt something on his body move. It was the Shengsu token rewarded by the system. What I saw here was the Southern Gate of Heaven in the Shengsu. What on earth is the heavenly palace referring to? Yeshi said this in his heart. Of course, the barrage was as explosive as always, and Yeshi was used to it. Therefore, he did not feel it was strange, but remained quite calm. Standing on the floating road, One can see clearly that behind the Nantianmen gate is not the fairy palace as imagined by the world, but a vast ruin. Yashi also said this sentence. Many people's eyes were full of disbelief. I really couldn't imagine that I would be able to see the south gate of heaven in my lifetime. What an incredible scene. In my imagination, there are many south gates of heaven in various film and television works, but I didn't expect the real south gate of heaven to be like this. A desolate and ancient feeling came over me. I originally thought that the south gate of heaven should be so tall and majestic, but when I saw the south gate of heaven in front of me and saw the wind and frost on it, I knew why the south gate of heaven was the south gate of heaven. Really, how could it be like this? There was a shaky and sad feeling. Could it be that all the people in the heavenly palace had died? I don't want this. The heavenly palace in my impression should always be hanging far away in the sky. Yashi stayed here for a long time, and then chose to leave. Others were also reluctant to leave, and even begged Yashi to stay. They wanted to take another look. Many foreign netizens didn't understand these comments. When someone popularized that this was equivalent to the residence of the Western god, they instantly understood the meaning of this place and began to pray. You can see a fragment of the heaven on the floating road, so the earthly immortals set up this road outside their own palaces. No one would be so extravagant as to use the floating road to pave a road towards the fake palace. Although I was satisfying my curiosity this time, by some strange coincidence, I actually found the original earthly immortal tomb. Yashi walked forward while talking. In fact, judging from the things I saw and experienced along the way, the most difficult place to cross should be this floating road. Because it is rumored that only immortals can walk on this road, everyone should be able to see a glimpse of the difficulty from the fact that this earthly immortal tried so hard to ascend to immortality but failed. Except for immortals, almost no one can walk this road. And those immortals who can walk through it will not interrupt others' immortal path for no reason. Yashi was still talking, and saw that the barrage had begun to send barrages crazily. I understand, the immortal is actually me. You are so pretentious. In the most nonchalant tone, you are worthy of it, Yeshen. When will you become an immortal? Why didn't you notify us to have a feast at your house and set up a few tables to celebrate the emergence of another immortal on our blue star after such a long time? My family members asked. I am 24 years old and still haven't become an immortal. Does it mean that I am hopeless and all useless? Yes, I advise the above to commit suicide as soon as possible. Don't occupy the quota of becoming an immortal. One less person to compete is a good thing. Good things. Yashi finally reached the end of this road. Looking up at the live broadcast room, I saw that they were making all kinds of guesses, guessing when Yashi became an immortal. Some people were so outrageous that they said that Yashi was actually the returning immortal emperor at the beginning. It was just to hide himself that he slowly released his strength. What he said was so vivid and outrageous. But it was very logical. At first glance, Yashi himself was convinced by the other party. It can only be said that it is a pity not to write novels. And when he returned to the land again. But this was not land, but in front of a suspended heavenly palace. The camera was more immersive, making many people feel that they were standing in front of the heavenly palace with Yashi. At this moment, it was as if his clear voice came from beside him. This is the tomb of the earthly immortal. What a pity. Such a heavenly palace of earthly immortals that is so exquisite and ingenious was broken from the inside. In fact, I still don't know why the earthly immortals turned into corpses. But I have a feeling that it has a lot to do with the red-haired brother I saw before. Yashi finished speaking. Walked closer. Everyone had already seen the door with a slight gap. And expressed great emotion in the barrage. Some even said, "You can't replace me. If I had the conditions, I would have succeeded in ascending to immortality long ago," and the like. Yashi treated these words as if they were farts. Walk straight forward and push open the dusty door. Crunch. The door to the earthly immortal tomb will make a sound when it is pushed open. Yashi expressed such emotion. Ha 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 ha, what's going on? I suddenly thought, why does a woman like XXXX have to poop? Fairies only drink dew, thank you, no rumors are allowed. This is a tasteful live broadcast room, I will retreat first. Jin Mao Bei, but it's very strange this is an Earth immortal can't even eliminate basic sounds. In fact, from this point of view, it can be explained that the Palace of Earth Immortal exists in name only. Aleguo, there is already dust. It should be that the corpse broke open the mausoleum after the transformation, and then the mausoleum became like this. It is a pity, but it can be studied, but now I am afraid that except for the anchor, there is no one people can get here. Kinli Buletin Lucing, my appetite has also been hooked. I wonder if a big rice dumpling will suddenly come out of here. The big rice dumplings are as big as those of earthly immortals. I am really scared, but it is not me who is scared, then I will be a wicked person. Can you please be more awake upstairs? It's you who is scared. Why do you think there are others? When the barrage was noisy, Yashi continued to move forward. The Earth Immortal tomb was built according to the normal regulations of the Heavenly Palace. Therefore, Yashi saw the alchemy room, the immortal pharmacy, etc. But there was nothing inside. At last, Yashi stood in a place suspected to be the earthly immortal's study. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 168. This should be the study the earthly immortal made for himself. Yashi could feel an indescribable smell even while standing outside. As a result, when I opened the door, everyone saw the red hair stained with black and red blood on the ground in the live broadcast room. Scattered on the ground, I don't know how many are scattered, making people feel their scalp numb inexplicably just looking at them. Why did the red-haired monster come to this place? Looking at it now, I'm afraid that the foolproof method of ascending to immortality that the Earth Immortal prepared for me was destroyed by my friends. It's true, things are unpredictable. After Yashi said this, he walked to the desk again. I saw a pen that had been broken into 2 pieces, and a book that had been torn open. Judging from the opened book, one of the names on it had been obliterated. Moreover, some red hairs were stained on the chair and desk, as if the red-haired monster had sat here and written. Yashi raised his hand, picked up the pen that had been broken into 2 pieces, and sighed. Do you all know what is the most important thing if you want to become an immortal? That's what we see in front of us, this pen and this booklet. The pen is an immortal pen, and the book is an immortal book. Everyone has heard of the conferred gods list, right? I'm not talking about that book, but this conferred gods list that records the names of various gods. Gods have a divine list, and immortals have an immortal book. If you want to become an immortal, the most important thing is to write your name in the immortal book. But here comes the paradox, that is, if you don't become an immortal, you can't write your name in the immortal book. Therefore, the Earth Immortal must have taken a trick in this immortal village and wrote his name on the immortal book. But what I never expected was that the page with my name on it was torn out. Yashi walked to a paper basket next to the desk, then bent down and picked out a few paper balls inside. Then opened one of the paper balls whose material and color are obviously different. Everyone saw a name suddenly shine brightly, and then quickly dimmed. Feng Chan, with this name, no wonder he can become an immortal. It's really great to be able to grow so big and suppress the luck of this name. It's just the last step before you can become an immortal. What a pity, what a pity. Yashi crumpled the folds of the paper and laid it flat on the desk. But I saw that the paper and the fairy book could no longer be combined into one. He couldn't help but shook his head when he saw this. Then he took out several other paper balls in his hand, spread them out, and saw pieces of letter paper. The letter paper was stained with a lot of red hairs, and one of them fell on Yashi's hand. Then at a very fast speed, his hand that had been touched by the red hair also quickly grew red hair. The speed is so fast that it is unimaginable, and the red-haired appearance and the palms covered with red hair also make people's scalp feel cold. Oh my god, what the hell is this? Why is it so contagious? A red-haired monster can infect two people, right? Yashi felt that something wanted to invade his body, but was blocked from the outside of his body. Then with a movement of divine power, all the red hair in this layer fell off, and then turned into ashes in mid-air. Yes' eyes were a little solemn. He looked at the red hair mixed with the letter and placed it on the desk with his divine power. The red-haired monster is indeed a terrifying existence. There is a deep malice in this red hair, and there is a very strong curse. Unfortunately, I have not been able to trace the root of this curse for the time being. Once an ordinary person encounters it, they will become a sacrifice for this curse and die in pain. In addition, there is another possibility, that is, because of his own strength, this curse will not let him die, but it will also stay on his body forever. I don't know what will happen if it is placed on a person's body. Sample. But as soon as I came into contact, I felt unusually vicious. I don't know who created this curse. Yashi thought for a while and relaxed his frown. Then I looked at the letters. Most of the letters were written only a few words before they could be written down. The longest one only had about 20 words, but the meaning could still be gleaned. Hey, the meaning of this letter is that the red-haired monster seemed to have been awake for a while, and then found out that his friend had been killed like this. He was so miserable that he tried his best to regain some of his sanity. Putting the completely alienated Earth Immortal in his coffin, I wanted to write down words to keep myself sane and memory, but in the end I failed. It's a bit messy because it's written in such a mess. Yashi looked up at the camera and said. After saying that, he continued to look at the book passage. Hey, that's interesting. It says that he felt very, very guilty that his friend had become like this, so he wanted to save his friend and help him achieve his wish to become an immortal. But that place is very far away from here, and he doesn't know the specific location. He only knows that there are many magic medicines and elixirs there, and one of them can save him. So he said that after writing these, he would take them with him and help find the elixir. Yashi withdrew his gaze again. Then he looked at other places, looked around, and found nothing except red hair. Then he looked up at the camera again. It seems that it is not a surprise that we saw the red-haired monster on Mars. Maybe he had recovered some consciousness at that time and remembered what he wanted to do. What a pity, I don't know where this ominous curse in his later years came from, and it has reached a level that even the earthly immortals can't stop. Let's go somewhere else to have a look. After Yashi finished speaking, he looked at the letter for a few times, but still didn't choose to put it away. All places in the earthly immortal palace are too easy to find. So Yashi found the place where the earthly immortal coffin was in a flash. And when he saw the other party, even the calmest person couldn't help but want to cover his eyes. This is a great humiliation for a former earthly immortal. Yashi's muttering voice echoed in the palace. Because the earthly immortal coffin they thought did not exist. There was only a monster locked in a room with iron chains. A complete monster, a monster without any freedom? Now I finally understand why you see the broken earthly immortal coffin as soon as you enter the Fengxian village. So this is the reason. I also know why this place is called Fengxian village. It's so miserable that I dare not look at it anymore. Yashi exhaled a breath of foul air and walked forward. And then. Ding, congratulations to the host. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 169. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the map of Fengxian village by 20%. The overall progress is now 100%. Ding, Congratulations to the host on the successful completion of this exploration. All the maps of Fengxian village have been explored. Please check the corresponding maps on your own. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the 5th puzzle piece of Fengxian village. You will be rewarded with Heaven's Guidance Map X1, Emperor's Liquid X100 kg, Earth Immortal Pill Sutra X1, Earth Immortal Pill X10, and Fengxian Village Fragments X3. Illustrated Book of Fengxian Village, Golden Lock, Earth Immortal, Earth Immortal's Palace. Golden Lock, this is the magic weapon that locks the Earth Immortal in this place. It is also something left by the red-haired monster. No one can unlock it except it. Earth Immortal, the Earth Immortal you see now has transformed into a corpse. Although it has transformed into a corpse, it is still an Earth Immortal. The Earth Immortal's Palace, this is the place the Earth Immortal built for himself to live in, but after some mistake, it became a place where he was imprisoned. Apart from this function, it has no other function. Heavenly Guide Map, this is a road leading to heaven. If you follow this road, you can find heaven. Earth Immortal Alchemy Sutra, Earth Immortal Alchemy records the elixirs used by the Earth Immortal. By comparing the elixirs on it, the corresponding elixir can be refined. The most important one is the Earth Immortal Elixir. Earth Immortal Pill, it can open one's own divine treasure and enhance one's own immortal power. Yeshi turned a deaf ear to these rewards in his ears, because there were no treasures that he needed to pay attention to. To put it simply, I looked down upon it. Instead, he looked at the earthly immortal monster and frowned. To be honest, although I have thought about and imagined many kinds of earthly immortals before, the most unlikely one is this one. This doesn't look like an earthly immortal. It can't even compare to the lowest level monster. It's so terrible, so terrifying. A majestic earthly immortal has fallen to this level. If it were me, I would rather die. This feels like a goblin or that scary monster, Goblin. It's too outrageous. How could it become like this? This is really bad luck. If the red-haired brother hadn't been brought in, I'm afraid he would have successfully become an immortal. Alas, I really don't know what to say. Yeshi looked at another place inside. There were red hairs falling everywhere on it, but someone wrote a letter in blood, telling all the reasons for the Earth Immortal's previous relationship. It's just that this blood book looks like ghostly symbols, which ordinary people can't understand at all. The font at the end makes people feel that the person who wrote it has lost his mind and gone crazy. Yeshi looked at the Earth Immortal in front of him, who looked very similar to the goblin, but looked even worse than the goblin. At this moment, he was shouting at Yeshi without any intelligence. He was locked in a place and couldn't get out at all. But because of this, the Earth Immortal will not come into contact with the red hair. This should be a protective measure left by the red-haired monster here. Of course, from Yeshi's point of view, it felt almost useless. Living like this is no different from dying. I don't know what weird thing happened during the process of ascending to immortality that turned me from an earthly immortal into a goblin. There's nothing recorded on it. It just wrote about some things before ascending to immortality, and telling the red-haired monster that he would definitely restore his friends to their original appearance. Yeshi didn't have to avoid those red hairs. He naturally exuded a very special divine power, and then repelled the blood-stained red hairs on the ground, and then walked to the blood book. I always thought that the Earth Immortal tomb and Fengxian village were caused by the Earth Immortal, but it turned out that it was the red-haired brothers who did it. And at the beginning, Fengxian village was not called Fengxian village, but Dixian village. It was only after the transformation of the earthly immortal corpse and the unknown red-haired monster in his later years that it became the Fengxian village. The immortal village is sealed to this Earth Immortal. Oh, I don't know what to say. It's really time and destiny. Yeshi shook his head, pointed at the Earth Immortal and said, "Actually, based on my understanding of immortals, the Earth Immortal's human calamity should be his friend. Logically speaking, as an Earth Immortal, he should also know about this matter. But I just couldn't think about it, so I brought my friend into the mausoleum. Now it's okay, both of us are finished. What a shame. Yes, she didn't expect that he would eventually discover these things while exploring Fengxian village. He looked at the camera, wanting to see what netizens were discussing. Xiandu can become like this, I suddenly feel at peace with myself. Earth Immortal cured my mental internal friction. Upstairs, you are so right. Looking at it this way, it turns out that the red-haired brother is the final big boss. No wonder Yeshen and the red-haired brother have to meet. It seems that this kind of plot will not happen until later. The earthly immortal looks like this and the smell is too strong. No, I can't stand it. However, many of the previous problems seem to have been explained now. My poor earth immortal brother, how did you become like this? What does it take to get back to your original appearance? I really want to know where Brother Hung Mao went to find the elixir. All kinds of messy things are displayed on the barrage, which is very exciting. Yashi took a few glances and shook his head slightly. He should know that he shouldn't expect these people to say anything special. However, during the process of exploring the secrets here, Yashi still had many unanswered questions. For example, what's going on with the brother outside who has 3 flowers on his head? There are also shrines and the like. But from the perspective of the system, these seem to be minor details and not important at all. As long as you know where Fengxian village came from, why it is called this name, and what happened in general. Forget it, it really doesn't matter. Yashi suppressed some doubts in his heart and waited to see if there were other opportunities to get explanations. And looking around here, there is basically nothing to care about. Yashi took one last look at the Earth Immortal who was living here in great pain, and where the Earth Immortal was wailing. Then he walked out of the Earthly Immortal Palace. I didn't expect that my exploration of Fengxian village this time would be completed without even realizing it. But I'm still curious, and I'm going to take a look at the mausoleum that Brother Hung Mao prepared for me. Including many strange things I saw in Fengxian village before, he should be able to explain them. It's a pity for this earthly immortal. Yashi returned along the original road. Then, among the almost endless steps, I chose another path. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the White Bone Dragon Pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 170. Yashi directly broke the special rules here. Sure enough, we arrived at the underground tomb. 1 heaven and 1 underground. I feel like this red-haired brother is really good to the Earth Immortal. You can ascend to immortality at the top, but you can only transform into a corpse at the bottom. After Yashi went through some difficulties, he stood in front of Hung Mao's mausoleum. The layout of his tomb is very vicious. It's not that you are vicious to outsiders, you are vicious to yourself. He arranged a formation for himself that was almost lifeless and engraved a strange formation with 9 dragons pulling coffins on the ground. Just to lock yourself in. When Yashi came in, a kind of gloomy howling could be heard in the air, a strange sinister wind was blowing randomly in it, and the gravel on the ground was mixed with strands of red hair stained with sticky blood. Although the strange formation of the 9 dragons pulling the coffin was not obliterated, it was obscured by the falling red hair. I chose a place for my friend to ascend to immortality, and found Fengjia village. The people in Fengjia village are extremely strange, they aspire to become immortals, they set up a magic circle and renamed it Dixian village. Yashi indeed found what he wanted to find here. But after seeing it. But I just want to say one thing. What the hell? The villagers found in Fengjia village are all very strange. I found that the people inside are not human, they are the kind of villagers who turn themselves into monsters in order to become immortals. But because of the special terrain here, has anyone really succeeded in becoming an immortal? Damn it, why is the record here completely different from what is said in the Fengxian village ancestral hall? Looking at it comprehensively, there is no difference at all. No, what we are talking about here is the success of becoming an immortal, not an earthly immortal. Yashi exhaled. What we are talking about here is that someone succeeded in becoming an immortal by taking advantage of the special terrain of Fengjia village. This immortal who succeeded in becoming an immortal has since become the object of worship in Fengjia village. Then Brother Hungmao came here and lied, saying that the earth immortal was the immortal they worshipped, and this time he led everyone in the village to become an immortal, so that they would obey his arrangements in everything. Then Brother Hungmao changed Fengjia village into Dixian village. All the transformations we saw in Fengxian village were all done by Brother Hungmao. Yashi told everything written on it in detail. Every time a knowledge point is mentioned, it is surprising. This red-haired brother said that in order to let his old age pass smoothly, he directly set up a magic circle for himself that would make even a true immortal hate him. Unexpectedly, in the end, the red-haired brother who turned into a red-haired brother finally broke through the magic circle and went out. As for this unknown old age, I didn't make it very clear. I have a general understanding. It should be a hereditary disease. Damn hereditary disease, you can really translate it. This translation is very easy to understand, allowing me to understand the essence of the red-haired brother at a glance. So, doesn't it mean that the red-haired brother has succeeded in becoming an immortal? Damn it, what you said upstairs is really right. It's scary to think about it. Oh my god, someone really succeeded in becoming an immortal, but that person is not an earthly immortal. What unintentionally planted willows will provide shade, and what kind of intentionally planted flowers will not bloom? Do you want to transform into red hair in order to become an immortal? Why not? Golden hair Bay, you are thinking too simply. Yeshen even said that this red hair is a very special curse, and he almost got it. You guys, with all due respect, you are going directly to die. Yeshi nodded in agreement. He really had nothing to say to these people who were actively seeking death. Think about it for yourselves how terrible Hongmao's curse and unknown old age are. People would rather die than get involved in it, but you are good, you still want to become immortal through this. Your brains are really good. I really have nothing to say. Yeshi spoke with half mockery and half complaints. After walking around here, Yeshi didn't see anything except red hair. Occasionally something would be covered in red hair, and you couldn't touch it at all. After walking out of this tomb of the earthly immortal, Yeshi stood on the ground and looked at the huge door in the distance. Knowing that walking through this door was the ancestral hall of Fengxian village, he sighed. This time the exploration of Fengxian village ends now. Before I came in, I didn't think it would be like this. But it's not in vain. At least it can be connected with some previous things, including starting from the exploration of Jingzhou ancient city. Yeshi thought for a while and said this with certainty. And the biggest mystery was solved today. That's where Brother Hungmao comes from. Yeshi said to the camera. Then he waved his hand. Okay, this time the exploration of the live broadcast room is over now. I'm leaving now, see you next time. Aren't you still in the ancestral hall? Why are you leaving? Why don't you live broadcast the scene of you leaving for us? We want to see it. Wait a minute, why did you disappear, Yeshen? After Yeshi waved, the whole person was like a gust of wind, disappearing quickly. The netizens who stayed in place to watch the live broadcast stared with big eyes. What kind of door to time travel? I want it too. It makes me not want the same thing, maybe in the next life. Yeshi opened the door directly. Returned to his own world. Then he saw Zhang Tianqi, who he had casually thrown inside. The other party is still in deep sleep. After Yeshi cured the other party, he randomly found a place and threw him out. Then he began to take out all the rewards he had obtained during this exploration. The most important thing, of course. Floating road. Yeshi took out the floating road. Then it was placed in a place in the sky. At the same time, with the boundless nebulae as a backdrop, it was simply beautiful. After Yeshi saw the floating road. As for other rewards, I want to wait and see. He pulled Kraken onto the floating road together. The scene I saw this time was completely different from the last time. I don't know if it's because of the changes in the world, or some other reason. Yashi actually saw Nantianmen up close. Then on the other side, I met a red-haired brother who was trying to get to Nantianmen through many dangers. Damn it, you and I are so destined, right? When Yashi saw Hongmao, he couldn't help but cover his face. Because it is too much of a coincidence. But it turns out that when brother Hongmao said he was going to pick the elixir, he was talking about going to this place to pick the elixir. Nantianmen, Shengsu. Yashi took out a token he carried with him.